So let me tell you why the Ugandan forces and the Burundian forces always sell their weapons, that is their guns and ammunition, and even RPGs and grenades and artillery shells and uniforms and most of their supplies to the Al-Shabaab, and not only Al-Shabaab but also clan fighters in places in Somalia where they've been deployed. That is in central Somalia, south central Somalia, and also southern Somalia. But before I go into that, let me say this. There's breaking news from the southern state of Somalia, and the breaking news is about a targeted operation that was carried out by the commando unit of the Somali National Army known as Danab, and they targeted the head of Al-Shabaab in the southwest region. He was also the head of Al-Shabaab finances. The guy's name is Abdullahi Abukar Ali, and he's also accused of recruiting children or child soldiers into Al-Shabaab. And he was targeted in the outskirts of Hudur, in a small village known as Warta Eidur, and he was killed this morning alongside many of his fighters. So let me get into this. So let me say this. The Ugandan forces, there's a unit of the Ugandan forces, specifically police unit, that is said, it is called the 12th Formed Police Unit, that was deployed under the ATMIS, the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia. And basically, the African Union Peacekeeping Mission in Somalia is being bankrolled by the EU and the UN office in Somalia, and also under the, with the blessings of the UN Security Council and the African Union Peace and Security Council. So these guys, the EU and the UN office in Somalia, they are supposed to provide not only logistical support but also allowances, financially, to pay these guys at the end of the month or by by the end of the week. I don't know how they have organized to pay them, but it is said that the 12th formed police unit from Uganda that recently completed their mission in Somalia. So they were deployed for 14 months. They left Uganda in April 2024, and they came back home in July 2025. And they have not been paid for 14 months now. So this is something that has been happening for a very long time, and you wonder why the Ugandan forces and the Burundian forces and also the Ethiopian forces are accused of selling their weapons to Al-Shabaab, and you wonder why this mission doesn't end. You wonder why they don't achieve their target of capturing towns from Al-Shabaab. You wonder why where Al-Shabaab get these weapons to overrun bases belonging to the Ugandan army, the Somali National Army, and you wonder why they get this explosive that they use to target civilians. So there is, that's your answer. These guys were deployed from Uganda, Ethiopia, Burundi, and also Djibouti. It is said their money goes to the government, their central banks. The EU provides this money specifically to the government of Uganda, to Burundi. They don't, pay directly to the soldiers in Somalia. So they, pay the government first for the government to compensate the guys in Somalia. So what happens is that the government doesn't compensate these guys. There are guys who are deployed for 14 months in Somalia, and you can imagine they have not been given anything for those 14 months that they have been deployed there. So that is that. Cheers. So these are the updates from both Kenya and Somalia, but let me begin with Somalia. So this morning, on 10th of August 2025, reports from Somalia suggest that the central government of Somalia has begun the process and the preparation of creating a new regional state in southern Somalia, and that regional state will be, the Gedo region of Somalia. Gedo is right now part of the Jubaland administration in southern Somalia, and you'll remember that recently, that is last week, the Ethiopian forces crossed into Gedo region, and they attacked the Somali National Army in two key border towns. That is one border town that borders Kenya, that is Beledhawo, and the other one is Dolo, that borders Ethiopia. So this regional administration known as Jubaland is very expansive, it is massive, and it borders two countries, that is Kenya and Ethiopia. And it has always had issues with the central government of Somalia. The leadership of Jubaland administration has had very, very serious issues and very serious differences with the central government of Somalia, the leadership of the central government of Somalia. And you'll remember that on November 2024, there were elections that were to be held in Jubaland administration, but the central government of Somalia refused to recognize those elections, and they refused to recognize the current leader of Jubaland administration, and they even went ahead and issued an arrest warrant for him, and also the regional administration issued a warrant of arrest for the president of the Republic of Somalia. So now the report suggests that the central government of Somalia or the federal government of Somalia is sending officials, including the Interior Minister and the Minister of Security of Somalia. And right now, there are officials already that have been sent to prepare the ground and to prepare the people to begin the process of creating a new regional administration within Gedo region. So Gedo is part of Jubaland, and it has been part of Jubaland, and it has been, and it has been at the center of conflict and the disagreements between the central government of Somalia and the regional administration of Jubaland for a very long time now. And I've predicted before in my video that both Jubaland and Puntland will be divided, and two regional administrations will be created to tame the leadership of these two regional administrations, because they have become too much, they have got out of hand, and they're behaving like they are ruling an independent country. So the one in Jubaland believes that he's an independent country, or basically a president, but he's still within Somalia, the same as the one in Puntland. So according to reports now, the process has begun, and tomorrow we are expecting the central government to send two ministers, that is the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Security. And already there are, low-level officials from the central government of Somalia who are already in Gedo, and they're preparing the people to begin the process of creating a new regional administration. So away from that, yesterday, the Minister of Defense, that is Fiqi, suggested that while he was visiting troops in Barire, it is said that he said in a press conference that there are, foreign governments that are working to help Al-Shabaab recapture Mogadishu, Somalia. That is very sensational. He never provided evidence. He never said which country or which foreign entity is providing support to Al-Shabaab and making them capture Mogadishu or retake the government of Somalia and destabilize Somalia completely. So he said there is a foreign government that is supporting, and he said that they have evidence that there is foreign government supporting Al-Shabaab. So let me cross over to Kenya. So in Kenya, the two leading newspapers, that is the Standard and the Nation, are reporting about the increasing number of road accidents in Kenya. So yesterday, you remember that about 26 people died, 26 mourners traveling in a school bus in Western Kenya died on the spot when a car rolled into a ditch. So accidents have been happening in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and a massive number of people have died. The reports suggest that about in upwards of 70 people have already died only last week in road accidents within Kenya, and they're questioning the top officials for their, road safety policy. Have they abandoned the road safety policy, or is this government ignoring what is happening on the roads? Nobody knows. So it's a very interesting read. And also within the Daily Nation, there's this, a pullout that is discussing the relationship between China and what US wants with Kenya. So this is a very good read. I will, ask you to try and even Google it online and check on Daily Nation website, and you will see, very, very important reports regarding Kenya, China, and the United States of America. So that is that. Cheers.